Welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and today we just have an alternator to do. Well, I've got a few other jobs today, but there may not be videos about those. So this is an alternator on a Dodge Avenger. I've done one recently, and I know I can do it pretty quick. So I think on this video, I'm going to try and see how fast I can do the alternator. Obviously, you always want to be careful when you're going fast, not to strip bolts or get in a rush and put things back in correctly in the wrong order. You know, you always want to make sure you take your battery off first. Things like that. I've got them all fresh in my memory, so I don't think I'm going to make any mistakes. And if I do, you know, I'll just be paying attention as well. So only do this if you're comfortable. In fact, I probably don't even recommend doing this. But the point of the video is I think I'm going to try and see how fast I can replace an alternator. So like the fastest, you know, possible alternator change. I mean, in my white truck where it's sitting on top, I could probably do it in like 3 minutes. This one I have to remove the AC compressor, take off a tire, so it's not going to be like the world record for any alternator, but it'll be kind of a cool video to see just how fast you can do something like that. So obviously somebody could probably do it faster. That's the point of this video. Let's see how fast we can do that alternator, and hopefully, you know, like 15 minutes out and in. And that's it. We've got the alternator, and we'll go stop by this gentleman's house where his car is and get it replaced for him. Also, there's probably merchandise down below now. Before there was just like a bumper sticker, so feel free to check out that merchandise if you want to help support the channel or have something, you know, that you can wear that represents the channel or, you know, connects you to it in a certain way. Be much appreciated. It does support the channel. We do make a little bit of revenue on them, so you buying merchandise helps us with some projects that we have coming up in the future. So here we go. All right, shout out to the channel members. Here we are just out the back of the truck here. I'll show you what it looks like from the side, but we've got pretty much everything set up. I haven't gotten anything taken apart yet, but I've kind of got everything laid out. There's my bolster, which I've been testing for the company. Links in the description. If you want to support the channel, you can buy one as well. And so far I've been loving it. We'll get a view here from the side, and without further ado, we'll jump in and see how long this takes. So I'll pull my phone out, show you the time when we start and when we finish. We are Roadside Rescue. This little Avenger broke down the other day, was diagnosed by a different shop as having a bad alternator. So we've got a replacement for it, which is up here. Here we go. There's a good new alternator for it, and we'll get this in here and get it started. All right, here we go. It's 3:05. Filming's probably going to take a couple of minutes. Here we go. Okay, so these lug nuts were, they're really tight, so it looks like they're starting to swell up. I'll bring that up with the customer, which everybody knows Dodges have these issues. I even made a recent video about it, which was pretty controversial. Anyways, they were just tight with that 19, so starting to swell up, should probably be replaced. We'll get this tire off. Here it is. Perfect. Now we will remove this fender cover specifically, but we're gonna have to undo a few clips here as well. Okay, so we just got the belt off the tensioner up here. They're both 16mm bolts. We've got to remove this idler pulley. And in case you didn't notice or I didn't show it, there's fender well liner has come out. So this fender liner. We've got quite a bit of oil down here. I'll see if I can pinpoint where that's coming from so I can let him know. And here comes this pulley right now. Then I've got 2 bolts on that alternator. We're going to take this AC compressor off as well. Okay, so we'll remove this clip here, this connector, and there's 3 bolts holding it on. Maybe not 13mm. I thought maybe they were. I'll show you in a second. They are 13mm. So a trick to not stripping bolts out, I always use 6-point sockets. And that, in my opinion, is a very good practice. Okay, on these electric wrenches, I like to keep my hand behind them. That way if it ever gets too tight, I know I can pull my fingers out and then flip the switch on the back. You never want to get those pinned up against something. All the tools that I'm using will be linked in the description down below if you're interested in them. And here comes that AC compressor loose, just enough to get that starter out of there. So we'll undo the electrical connection up top and then undo that starter, which has a connector on the back and a wire as well. All right, so it's been just about 6-7 minutes and I'm ready to pull this alternator when I get these 2 bolts on the front undone, which should come out quickly. All right, there we go. It just came out about 10 minutes and everything usually goes back together a bit quicker. I'm gonna put this bolt in to begin with because it's on a hook and not an eye, so I can just set it up there and hook it on that first. We'll get the other one and get it installed. All right, so here we are. This video is going to get a little more interesting, but I'm not going to install this alternator right now. If you can see the sticker here, this is an externally regulated alternator. I've seen several of these. Basically, they're computer controlled. I've seen multiple of these go out in it'd be a computer issue, not an alternator issue. So since I didn't do the diagnosis, I told the customer, look, I'll put it in if you want, but there's no guarantee that it works. I told him we could take it to the auto parts store and get it tested, and you know, then he potentially saves all the money that it would have costed this new alternator, which is about $200. And you know, I could put the old one back in. It's the same amount of labor, but you know, potentially saving $200. If that other alternator is working fine, then it's most likely a computer issue, which I've seen again multiple times. I've seen a few times where it is the alternator, but I've also seen many times where it is the computer. And so, you know, just to be sure, I told him, let's get that alternator tested. Well, I gave him the choice. We're going to get it tested. So I'm going to take it with me tonight to the auto parts store, get it tested a few times, make sure that it is or isn't that alternator issue. If it is, then we'll put the new one in. If it isn't, then a lot of companies sell these Dodge computers because, again, I've seen it several times where it just isn't giving the right signals to that alternator. So we may end up putting a new computer in. But that's it. It was about 10 minutes to pull it out. So I was excited to see if I could do it in like 15 minutes, but I was betting it was probably going to be about 17, 20 by the time I got everything buttoned up and looked over and triple checked. But that's that. So it's nice and hot. Not too disappointed that I have to take a break and get this tested. And if it is the alternator, we'll put it back in the morning. If it's not, then we'll be ordering that computer. So this is the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'll give you an update. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing. We'll see you on the next episode.